What if I told you your body sends signals days, sometimes even weeks, before a heart attack? Silent, subtle, easy to ignore, until it's too late. This isn't fear-mongering. This is your life. And in the next few minutes, what you learn could save it, or the life of someone you love. Here's the truth. Most people who suffer a heart attack didn't see it coming. Not because there were no signs, but because they didn't know what to look for. They shrugged it off. A little fatigue. Must be stress. Trouble sleeping. Maybe just a bad night. Pain in the jaw. Probably nothing. But these aren't random symptoms. They're your body waving a red flag. This video isn't just a list. It's a wake-up call. We're going to break down the 7 early symptoms that often appear before a heart attack strikes, one by one, with real context, clarity, and urgency. Because your health deserves more than vague advice and recycled information. You need the truth, plain and simple. And that's what you'll get here. Let's get something clear right now. Heart disease is the leading cause of death worldwide. But it's not a sudden killer. It builds. It signals. It warns. If you're tuned in, you can catch it before it takes its shot. That's why staying until the end of this video matters. Because the last symptoms we'll cover are the ones most often missed, and they're the ones that show up when you still have time to act. Think about this. Imagine waking up with a strange heaviness in your chest, a tightness that feels unfamiliar. It fades after a few minutes. You go about your day. A few days later, you're more tired than usual, like you can't catch up on rest no matter how much you sleep. You brush it off. Life's been busy. Deadlines. Bills. Everything stressful. But then you get this weird ache in your neck. No big deal, right? Wrong. These aren't isolated events. Together, they paint a picture, and the picture points to a heart in distress. That's why this video doesn't just list the symptoms. It connects the dots. It shows how they add up, what they really mean, and when they cross the line from normal to urgent. And no, this isn't just for older adults or people with a history of heart problems. Heart attacks don't read your age. They don't care if you exercise twice a week or eat a salad now and then. If you think this doesn't apply to you, you're exactly who needs to hear it. So what are these 7 signs? Why do they show up early? And what exactly is your heart trying to tell you? Let's start peeling this apart. The body is smarter than we give it credit for. It knows when something's off long before you do. A heart under pressure starts to affect everything, your sleep, your energy, even how your body regulates temperature. That's why one of the earliest signs isn't pain, it's fatigue. Not just tired. Fatigued. The kind of exhaustion that makes your arms feel heavy. Like walking across the room takes more effort than it should. This kind of tired doesn't go away after a nap. It drags on, sometimes for days. And it's often brushed off as burnout. But it's not your workload, it's your circulation. When the heart isn't pumping efficiently, less oxygen reaches your muscles. Your body compensates by slowing you down. You feel sluggish. You think, I just need a weekend off. But no break fixes it. This is the kind of fatigue that whispers instead of screams. But it's saying something important. Then there's shortness of breath. You're walking upstairs you've climbed 100 times before, and now you're winded. You stop halfway, not even realizing why. You chalk it up to being out of shape. But this is new. It feels like your lungs forgot how to expand. Like your chest is tight even though nothing hurts. When your heart can't pump blood efficiently, your lungs get less oxygen. That tight, breathless feeling. That's not just poor cardio. It's a sign your heart is falling behind. And it can creep up without warning. You're doing dishes. You bend down to tie your shoe. Suddenly, you feel like you need to stop and catch your breath. It's brief. It passes. But that moment matters. Because in a healthy body, those small movements shouldn't make you pause. Now let's talk about sleep. Or more accurately, lack of it. If your body suddenly can't rest the way it used to, your heart might be involved. Insomnia, frequent waking, restless nights, these can all point to underlying cardiovascular stress. Most people think bad sleep is caused by stress or anxiety. And often, that's true. But when your sleep quality drops and nothing else in your life has changed, your body may be sounding the alarm. Especially if you're waking up gasping, or feeling like you're choking. That's not just poor sleep posture. That's a sign your heart and lungs are struggling to keep up. Some people experience sleep apnea before a heart event, without realizing it. They snore more loudly. They wake up multiple times a night. They wake up tired, no matter how long they slept. These aren't quirks. They're symptoms. You see where this is going? Individually, each of these signs might seem harmless. Tired? Who isn't? Breathless after stairs? Happens. Poor sleep? Everyone complains about that. But taken together, they reveal a pattern that's impossible to ignore. And then there's something few people expect, jaw or neck pain. This one's tricky because it doesn't feel like heart pain. It feels muscular. Maybe even like a pulled tendon or a pinched nerve. But what's actually happening is a misfire in pain signals. The nerves that run from your heart travel through your chest, neck, and jaw. So when your heart is under stress, it sometimes sends signals that your brain interprets as pain in those areas. You might feel a tightness under your jaw. A burning sensation in your throat. A dull ache at the base of your skull. You massage it, take something for it, move on. But the pain doesn't come from where you think it does. And if it's paired with fatigue or shortness of breath, that's a red flag. At this point, you might be wondering, how do you know if these symptoms are serious? What makes them different from normal stress or aging? That's the key. Timing. Consistency. The way the symptoms stack. If these signs come out of nowhere, if they build slowly over a few days, if they linger even when you rest, your body is trying to get your attention. And here's the catch, the most dangerous symptoms are the ones you ignore. In the next part of this video, we're going even deeper. There are still more signs ahead, and some of the most overlooked ones are still coming. Because symptoms 6 and 7 are the ones that most people never connect to heart issues, until it's too late. Let's keep going, because the next symptoms are the ones almost no one talks about. They don't show up in movies. They don't look like what we expect from a heart problem. But they show up. Quietly. Persistently. And if you recognize them, you're already one step ahead. We've already covered unusual fatigue, shortness of breath, trouble sleeping, and pain in places you wouldn't expect, like the jaw and neck. These signs can appear days, sometimes even weeks before a heart attack. But we're not done. Because number 5 is one that gets dismissed all the time, cold sweats. Not just feeling warm. Not just being in a hot room. We're talking sudden, unexplained cold sweats that show up when you're not exerting yourself. You're sitting still, maybe watching TV or working, and suddenly your skin feels clammy. Damp. Like you just ran a mile, but you didn't. That's not just weird. That's your nervous system reacting to cardiac stress. Why does it happen? Because your body is fighting to maintain balance. Your blood pressure might be fluctuating. Your heart might be struggling to push enough oxygen through your system. That triggers your body's emergency response. One of those responses? Sweating. Not to cool you down, but to manage internal pressure. It's your body going into defense mode. And the worst part is, this kind of sweating often gets ignored. People think they're getting a fever, or they're just anxious. But when cold sweats happen without a reason, and especially when combined with other signs we've mentioned, you need to pay attention. Because your body is working overtime, and it's not just because you're nervous. Let's move to number 6, nausea or indigestion. Sounds simple, right? Maybe even ridiculous. But here's the deal, your stomach and heart are neighbors. When the heart is under strain, blood flow gets redirected. That can affect your digestive system. You might feel queasy, bloated, or like you have a full stomach when you haven't eaten much. You might even burp more often, or feel pressure high in your abdomen. Some people mistake it for acid reflux or food poisoning. Others assume it's just a mild bug. But when the discomfort feels different, when it radiates up into your chest, or combines with a tight or heavy feeling, that's when it gets dangerous. Women, in particular, often experience nausea as an early heart attack warning. Studies show they're more likely to have atypical symptoms, like stomach pain, vomiting, or dizziness, compared to the classic chest pressure everyone knows. That's why it's critical to look at the full picture. If you're suddenly feeling nauseous, especially in combination with fatigue or sweating, don't just take antacids and move on. Stop. Evaluate. Think about what your body might actually be telling you. And here it is, symptom number 7. The one that gets missed more than any other, a sense of doom. Sounds dramatic, right? But it's real. People who later survive a heart attack often describe feeling like something was wrong in the days leading up to it. Not physically wrong, emotionally. Like a shadow hanging over them. Like something bad was coming. They couldn't explain it. They just knew. It felt like anxiety, but it wasn't tied to anything specific. It felt like their body was bracing for impact. This isn't superstition. It's physiology. When your body is under major internal stress, your nervous system gets thrown out of balance. Hormones shift. Blood flow changes. That creates a feeling of unease that you can't put into words. It feels like dread. Like panic without a source. And it can hit days before any real symptoms show up. If you're feeling off and you don't know why, if your intuition is screaming that something's wrong even when your mind can't explain it, don't ignore that. Because sometimes your body knows before your brain catches up. So now you've heard all 7 symptoms. Let's go over them again, quickly. Unusual, persistent fatigue. Shortness of breath from everyday activities. Restless, disrupted sleep. Pain in the neck, jaw, or shoulders. Sudden cold sweats. Nausea or indigestion without cause. A sense of dread or unexplained anxiety. On their own, they're easy to brush off. But together, they tell a story. And this is the part most people miss. Heart attacks don't always look like they do in the movies. You might never clutch your chest. You might never drop to the floor. For many, it starts small. Quiet. Just a little off. And that's why so many people wait too long to get help. They wait because they don't want to overreact. They wait because they don't want to look weak. They wait because they're not sure. But here's the truth, it's better to check and be wrong, than to ignore and be too late. Heart attacks are survivable, if you act in time. And time doesn't mean minutes. It means recognizing the signs days or weeks before the crisis hits. That's your window. That's your chance. And it starts with awareness. The question now is, what do you do with this information? What changes? What actions make the difference between catching a problem early and facing an emergency? So now you know. You've heard the 7 warning signs. You understand how they show up, quietly, subtly, sometimes days in advance. And that knowledge alone puts you ahead of most people. But here's the part that really matters, what do you do next? Because recognizing the symptoms is only step 1. Acting on them is what saves lives. Most heart attacks don't come out of nowhere. There's a build-up. And when you know the signs, that build-up becomes visible. Your job now is to take what you've learned and use it to stay alert, not paranoid, not afraid, but aware. Let's talk about what that awareness looks like in practice. It starts with honesty. You need to be real with yourself. No more brushing things off. No more excuses. If you feel a symptom, acknowledge it. Don't rationalize it away. Don't tell yourself you're too young, too fit, too busy to deal with it. Symptoms don't care about your schedule. They show up when they want to, and if you ignore them, they escalate. Next, track what you're feeling. If something feels off, don't rely on memory. Write it down. Keep notes on your phone. What did you feel? When? How long did it last? Did it happen again? Patterns matter. If you notice certain symptoms stacking, like fatigue, shortness of breath, and poor sleep, don't wait for the classic chest pain moment. It might not come. And if you're seeing those patterns, get checked. Even if it feels like nothing. Even if it passes. A basic checkup can make the difference between a close call and a tragedy. Tell your doctor exactly what you're experiencing, without minimizing it. Your job isn't to diagnose, it's to report. Let the professionals take it from there. But let's go even deeper. Because this isn't just about recognizing symptoms. It's about building habits that give you the upper hand, before anything goes wrong. One of the smartest moves you can make is learning your baseline. What's normal for you? Your normal heart rate, your normal energy levels, your normal breath control. The better you know your body, the faster you'll catch anything unusual. And you don't need fancy equipment, just attention. If walking to the store suddenly makes you more tired than it used to, that's worth noting. If your appetite drops off for no reason, or you feel more anxious without a trigger, pay attention. Another big factor. Blood pressure. Most people don't think about it until it spikes. But elevated blood pressure is often the first measurable clue that something's wrong. You can buy a home monitor for less than the cost of dinner, and it could be one of the most important tools you own. A sudden rise in blood pressure, especially combined with the symptoms we've talked about, is a serious red flag. Same goes for heart rate. If your resting heart rate jumps by 10, 15, 20 beats per minute without reason, your body is working harder than it should. That could mean stress. It could mean illness. Or it could mean your heart is struggling. Don't ignore that data. Use it. Now, let's be honest, most people don't want to think about this stuff. It's uncomfortable. It makes you face your own vulnerability. But here's the truth, denial won't protect you. Awareness will. The people who survive are the ones who took the signs seriously. And if you've never had symptoms like this before, good. That's your chance to stay ahead of it. You don't have to wait for symptoms to take control of your heart health. There are things you can do starting today that can change your trajectory entirely. Start with the obvious, move your body. You don't need a gym. You don't need fancy routines. Just walk more. Stretch. Get your blood flowing. A strong heart is a trained heart. Eat real food. You know the drill, less processed junk, more whole ingredients. Less sugar, less salt, fewer chemicals. Your heart doesn't need perfection. It needs consistency. And stress. That's not just a mental problem. Chronic stress wrecks your cardiovascular system. It pushes your blood pressure up, inflames your arteries, throws off your sleep. Learn how to shut it down. Meditate. Breathe. Say no more often. Protect your peace like it's part of your medicine, because it is. Finally, and this might be the hardest one, talk about this. With your family. Your friends. The people you care about. Because someone you love might be feeling these symptoms and not realizing what they mean. Share this video with them. Start the conversation. You never know who needs to hear it until you speak up. Let's be real, heart attacks take people every day. Some of them saw the signs. Most didn't know what they meant. But that's not going to be your story. Because now you know. You understand what to look for. And more importantly, you understand why it matters. You've made it this far in the video, and that tells me something: you care. You're not here just for information. You're here for action. You're here to protect your health, or someone else's. And that's powerful. So here's what you do now. Watch this video again if you need to. Share it. Bookmark it. Keep it somewhere easy to find. Because the next time something feels off, you'll want to remember this. And if you're feeling any of these symptoms now, don't wait. Don't gamble. Don't try to tough it out. Go get checked. Now. This isn't about panic. It's about power. Taking your health into your own hands before something takes it from you. You've got the tools. You've got the knowledge. What you do with it, that's up to you. Stay safe. Stay aware. And most importantly, stay here. The world needs you. Thanks for watching. Now go take care of your heart.